Ready to go? Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Jerry Hauer. I'm the Commissioner of the Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Services. We thought it'd be good to brief you and brief the public on the upcoming storm, which should start impacting the city tonight, but the brunt of the storm will start impacting the city tomorrow evening. What we do know, and we've been in constant contact with the National Weather Service, is we're expecting the storm to start with flurries tonight after midnight. The storm will then get heavier, and the winds are going to pick up quite considerably. At the end of the day, we expect that this storm could bring anywhere from 12 to 20 inches of snow for the New York City metropolitan area. For the lower Hudson Valley, we expect this storm will be somewhere in the 8 to 10 inch range. Joining me here today, Tom Prendergast is the interim director of the MTA, Pat Foy, the chairman or executive director of the Port Authority, and Commissioner Joan McDonald from State DOT. We felt it was very important that we get word out to people that this is a very dangerous storm. The winds tomorrow could be as high as 60 miles an hour. And with that comes down trees, down power lines, and power outages. And we want to caution people about tomorrow. And basically, if you don't have to go to work tomorrow, we suggest that you not. But if you do have to go to work, our suggestion is that you plan for an early departure before the storm really gets going and we start getting 3 to 4 inches of snow per hour, in which time it becomes extremely dangerous. So we're planning for the storm. We have been in contact with all the counties. We've been talking to the Weather Service every couple hours and getting updates from them. We have already pre-positioned assets on Long Island, in New York City, Westchester, and we have assets positioned in Albany to get to any of the other counties north of the lower Hudson Valley. We're taking this storm very seriously, and you should take this storm very seriously. This is a dangerous storm with a lot of blowing snow and very significant winds that will make travel on Friday night into Saturday morning almost impossible. So we'd like you to use good judgment. And if you live along the coastal areas of Queens, Brooklyn, Long Beach, going all the way out to Suffolk County, if you're right on the water, the tidal surge is going to be higher than normal, 3 to 5 feet, but with strong wave action. So we'd like you to plan on alternate residents or facilities should you see flooding coming towards your house. Keep in contact with your local emergency management agency so that you know what's going on with the flooding and so that you know where to relocate in case you have to evacuate. With that in mind, I'll turn it over to Joan.
Thank you, Jerry. I have a couple of points to make in addition to what Jerry has said. First of all, while we're focused here on the downstate region, New York City, the Hudson Valley, and Long Island, for New York State DOT, this is a statewide event. Across the state, we have begun pre-treating with salt and brine, and we will have over 1,300 snowplows out on our roads. But I want to emphasize some of the points that Jerry made to avoid any unnecessary travel. But if you must use roadways, whether they're state DOT roadways, the thruway, or local roads, please adjust your speeds. The snowplows are out there clearing the roads, so maintain safe distance and do not attempt to pass snowplows in any event. There will be road closures. New York State DOT coordinates with the state police, and in the event we have road closures, if they are unsafe conditions, we will alert the media, and we will keep that well informed. But this is a severe storm headed our way, and we caution everybody to avoid any unnecessary travel.
Pat?
Good, thanks. As we did for Superstorm Sandy, the Port Authority's been working closely with the Governor's Office and State OEM to be prepared. We're going to have 300 pieces of snow and ice equipment, literally thousands of tons of salt and sand at each of our facilities, over 1,000 people who will be deployed, and decades of experience. There will be likely flight cancellations tomorrow. You should check with your local carriers. The same is true with respect to bus service at the Port Authority bus terminal. We'll be reporting on the status of commuter rail service between New York and New Jersey on PATH. And I want to echo Commissioner Hauer and Commissioner McDonald. This is a serious storm. It ought to be treated seriously. And we at the Port Authority are prepared and ready for it.
Much like the other agencies, we're going to have a lot of snow fighting equipment out, de-icer trains, plows, snow throwing equipment, things of that nature. Because of the blizzard conditions in the afternoon rush hour, the high rates of snowfall and the very extremely high winds, travel at that time will become treacherous. Much like Mr. Howard stated, if you don't have to come into work, it may be a good time to take off. If you do come into work, plan for an early departure. The commuter rail systems will be putting out notices through the news media as to what those early departures should be. And we certainly would like people to be home well before the afternoon rush hour. This is a very serious storm, and we should treat it that way.
Thanks, Tom. The bottom line is, as you've heard from everyone, is we are taking this storm very seriously. The governor has activated the Emergency Operations Center tomorrow as of noon, and has made it clear to all the commissioners that we need to be ready to assist with anything that could come up during the storm. It's also very important that you have your kits ready with flashlights, blankets, batteries, medications, so that if you need to evacuate, you've got those to take with you. But if you do lose power, at least you have flashlights and some other things to support you staying in the house. With that in mind, if there's any questions, be happy to answer.
Does that make sense that people who are in areas who were really badly hit during Sandy are going to kind of get hit worse off?
I wouldn't say worse off, but some of the areas along the coast, particularly in the Rockaways, Long Beach, Seagate, Breezy Point, because of the surge height and the wave action, which when we were talking to the Weather Service two hours ago, they told us the waves could be as high as 25 feet, but they don't come in that high. But as they're attenuated as they come in, we will see some wave action causing some flood. Along the shore to be especially careful.
Mr. Prendergast, at what point do you suspend bus service?
Well, certainly we don't want to find ourselves in a position where we have hundreds of buses stranded on the street. So as you start to approach blizzard conditions and high wind conditions and heavy accumulations of snow, we try to thin out that service. We don't want to strand anybody on the street, but that goes hand in hand with if it's unnecessary travel and you don't have to take it, we're strongly recommending people don't. But as you approach the teeth of the storm, that's when you're worried about getting equipment stranded and people stranded on that equipment. Oh yeah, we do a whole host of things. Like on the routes that we have articulated buses, we go to smaller buses because articulated buses have a higher tendency to get stranded. Yes, we put chains on buses. We have additional snow fighting equipment in and around where we can salt routes and supplement what New York City DOT does. And so it's a combination of the snow fighting equipment. But there comes a point in the storm where, in the teeth of the storm, it makes more sense to pull the service out, and so you don't strand equipment and people.
Okay, and then for the subways, when would you have a suspension of the elevated line? Is there like a
Well,
mile per hour wind where you would suspend elevated trains on elevated tracks?
Generally not. And the elevated portions that are open deck structures don't accumulate snow, so we run those. The areas that are most susceptible to problems with snow or down trees are the open cut sections or the elevated embankments, and certainly the subways run. We'll be putting in a Plan 5, which means after the afternoon rush tomorrow, we're going to lay up all the equipment underground and protect it as the storm passes through, and then we bring it back out on Saturday after the storm has left.
So you anticipate closing completely?
No, not at all. No, we're going to run the system. When I say we lay up the equipment underground, as you lay up the equipment, you don't need as much. Instead of storing it at outdoor yards, you store it underground. That's what I was saying.
Anything else?
Can you compare the storm surge expected now to the one we received during Sandy?
Oh, it's not going to be close to what we saw during Sandy. We're seeing storm surge of 3 to 5 feet with some wave action. The surge during Sandy went up to 13 and a half, 14 feet. You really can't compare them. But there is a keep an eye on the height of the water around. And the last point that I wanted to make is if you do live near someone that's shut in, disabled, or elderly, please check on them.